This is a miracle. It's a miracle of generosity because God provided for the people on the hillside that day. They'd come to listen to him teach and to be healed. Let's just imagine that in a slightly different context, though. All those thousands of people have been listening to Jesus. Now, the one thing we know about people at the time of Jesus is they sat in groups. It says on our reading, they were in groups of people, 50 or more. And that's because quite often they would only stay with the people that they lived with who were of the same keeping in education and class as themselves. There was a lot of what we call segregation. Segregation means when you're separated, maybe boys and girls, 10-year-olds and 5-year-olds, people who live in one part and live in another, and that too. And we would have had Pharisees, and we would have had tax collectors, we would have had masters and their slaves, women and children, and they would have been segregated. But imagine that on that day, everybody had listened to Jesus' teachings, and then they saw each other in a different kind of way after he'd spoken about God's love for them and how we must love one another as he has loved us. And imagine it gets to the end of that day and everyone starts to be hungry. And Jesus says, let's go out and just see how much there is. And everybody looks in their baskets. Now, I didn't have much left in my basket, but if we'd all had a little bit left in our baskets, maybe there would have been enough to go round. And if we were prepared to share with the people we wouldn't normally sit with, you're all sitting together beautifully, but believe me, in Jesus' day, people would have separated themselves and they shared their food. I am quite sure there would have been enough to go round. The thing is, there is enough to go round, but we still have food poverty. We still have people who go hungry. UK is one of the 6 richest European countries, and we have one of the highest records of food poverty. And yet, in spite of that, we throw away about a third of what we produce food-wise. To share what we have. God asks us to share. Not just food, but to share who we are, our service, our love for one another. But what a difference it does make when we do that. So to share food, it might just mean you go and put an extra pint of milk in your shopping trolley and donate it to one of the charities. Maybe, like me, I'm growing courgettes for the first time, which is a bit of a revelation because one minute there's nothing and the next I seem to have an abundance. And at the moment I'm living on my own and I'm a little bit fed up with courgettes, I have to say. There's only so many things you can do with a courgette. So we share what we have. We share them with the people who we live alongside, who might need it, who would appreciate it. We're out and about, it's the summer. Have you all been out on trips this summer? Have you been out to the beach or the park or, been out and about? Did you get tired? No. Well, sometimes, you've been to the park. Well, sometimes people a bit smaller than you get really tired when they're on a day out and they have a bit of a tantrum. Have you seen it? And it's always in the most awkward public place, isn't it? But when we're out and about as Christians giving God's love as he has asked us to love, we smile and we're supportive and we check everybody's okay and we don't get grumpy in return. God wants us to share what we have. That boy on the hillside, it looked quite small what he offered, 5 loaves and 2 bread. It was probably all he had. Such a small gesture making such a big difference. And if we make a big difference with our gestures, however small, those people who receive our lovely, generous gestures, whatever they are, learn to love a little bit more themselves. You know what it's like if somebody's not very kind to you or a bit grumpy. Does that happen sometimes at school or when you're out? Somebody's not nice and then it makes you feel grumpy and unhappy. But if we're kind to each other and we look after each other, we're more inclined to look after everybody else too. This is a story about God's generosity, a miracle of generosity of love for us. And he provides for us in abundance with a little bit more when we spend that time with him. And I just want to leave you with a little thought. Do you know what a vacation is, children? What's a vacation? It's a word for a holiday. Absolutely. We're on vacation, summer holidays from school. The word vacation actually means creating space. The gospel story we listen to began with Jesus creating some space. He withdrew from the crowds. He's a busy person like you guys. You've been rushing to get to church. You've got all these people around you. And sometimes you need to withdraw and you need to find a bit of space and create it. So before a lot of public events, a lot of public things that Jesus did, he would withdraw first. He'd create a space to be in. And he would come to the Father and he would pray in peace. And then when he'd prayed and he'd refreshed, been strengthened by God's love for us, his Spirit moving through us, then he returned to the people he was going to serve and be alongside. And he had a little bit more to give. It's very hard in the summer holidays. We're trying to entertain our families, grandchildren, nephews and nieces. We're trying to meet all those expectations that there are. And it's not always an easy thing to do. So during the holidays, the vacation, not only are you creating some space not to have to go to school and get up in the morning and all the things you have to do, but I implore you as families too to create a bit of space for God, to find that time to refresh in, and then to be able to go back out there and to be able to share what you have received and have a little bit more beside.